Okay, so I do believe we are streaming live. I just cannot get a I just can't watch it live. Apparently YouTube says I can't watch my own video live. I don't even know if YouTube can see this. There, I'm live. Must have been a huge delay. Okay, so let's go back over there and make sure this thing's actually working. I really don't know. So let's put a center in here after we clean out with my finger. See that working? Back over there, make sure this thing's actually working. Yep. So let's turn this over. I really don't know. This way slightly. So let's put a. That's a little better. In here after we. Okay. Clean out with my finger. I cannot find my. See that working? Scratch awl. I usually have an awl hanging here to center punch all these parts, and it's missing. That's a little better. Wonder where that ended up getting moved to. Or someone decided they needed to own it and I didn't and walked off with it, because believe it or not, sometimes people like to go in other people's spaces and take their stuff because it's interesting to them. Huh. Or someone decided they needed to own it and I didn't. Can't seem to find it. Believe it or not, sometimes it sucks a little bit, but doesn't suck too much because I don't really need it. And take their stuff because it's. I like using it, but I don't need to. I guess I can just use a screw. A lot of people will draw lines from corner to corner and try to find their centers. Me, I just say that's it there, and that's where I put my center. A lot of people will draw lines from corner to corner and try to find their centers. Me, I just something like this. You ain't gotta be that perfect. I'm just turning this stuff around, and that's where I put my center. So all I really need to do is get close. Something like this, you ain't gotta be that perfect. And get my head in the way of the shot. Turning this stuff around. So all I really need to do is get close. Keep. Lock that in place. Roll that out there. It looks pretty good. So we're just going to call that good. Bring in this tool rest. Out there. Double check, make sure it ain't going to hit nothing. Out there. All right, so it looks pretty good. So we're just going to call that. It's going to use one tool for this. If I can get it out of the hole. Pretty dirty. Needs a little bit of a cleanup with a steel wool. Been sitting several months, haven't been used. A little surface rust off of it. It's going to use one tool for this. If I can get it out of the hole. Pretty dirty. Needs a little bit of a quick hit it with a stone. Been sitting several months, haven't been used. Take the burrs off from last time I used it. Surface rust off of it. May not be the way you do things, but hey, well, I'm doing it today. Okay, so I'm gonna put on my face shield, of course. I'm not gonna use any breathing protection because I don't think I need it on this. And I don't even know if this machine is plugged in, tell you the truth. Apparently it is. Okay, so I'm gonna put on my face shield, of course. I'm not gonna use any. Double check everything's locked in place. Breathing protection because I don't think I need it on this. And let's start rounding this out. The machine is plugged in, tell you the truth. Apparently it is. I think I'm a little high. But I should be fine. Yeah, I think I'm a little high. I'm going to lower this down slightly. There we go. Make sure we're still clear. Every time I make an adjustment, I always got to spin the lathe to make sure you're clear. Otherwise, you can end up bouncing your part off that tool rest. Yeah, that feels a little better. Make sure we're still clear. Every time I make an adjustment, I always got to spin the lathe to make sure you're clear. Otherwise, you can end up bouncing your part off that tool rest. Yeah, that feels a little better. Probably not the right way to do this, but I just kind of find myself a spot on the end. Not quite there yet. Then I'll just push it across the part. Probably not the right way to do this, but I just kind of find myself a spot on the end. Not quite there yet. Then I'll push it across the part. Yeah, it felt like we were there, so it's going to end up being an inch when we're done. So I'm just going to start running this across. I might get the tool rest a little closer. Feels like I'm a little far out. Yeah, it felt like we were there, so it's going to end up being an inch when we're done. So I'm just going to. I'm going to try to keep it straight also. Start running this across. I might get the tool rest a little closer. Feels like I'm a little. Okay, I'm going to run it across, and then we'll take them main. Take the main squareness out of it. Okay, I'm going to run it across and then come back around it out. See here, That's a knot. And I'll eventually run into these screw holes too, but they won't make any difference in what I'm making in the end. Pulling this out of it. And then come back around it out. And I'll eventually run into these screw holes too, but they won't make any difference in what I'm making. Oh, I'm using a year, at least a year since I had my lathe turned on. At least. I'm using a year, at least a year since I had my lathe turned on. At least. Be sure to touch up the edge once in a while. Don't want to use dull tools. Dull tools are... Most people get hurt using dull tools. It's dull, so you push a little harder when you could have just spent a minute and sharpened it. Touch up the edge once in a while. I think that's another. Yep, that's another knot there. Dull tools. Try to work our way through that slowly. Most people get hurt using dull tools. When you could have just spent a minute and sharpened it. I think that's another. Yep, that's another knot there. Try to work our way through that slowly. And move over and work on that end. It's kind of a trick to working with flawed material, and that's recognizing there's flaws. A lot of people are like, oh, I'll just ignore that and get through it. Well, I'll power through it. Well, don't power through it. Work your way through it. You know, go slow and sure. Recognize it's there. It's kind of a trick to working with flawed material, and that's recognizing. Sorry, pulling out my actual. A lot of people are like, oh, sharpening diamond plates and giving this tool an actual sharpening. I don't have any sharpening jigs or a sharpening wheel. I wish I did. I had the chance of getting a couple of them, but I let those chances get by me. So now I'm still stuck doing it by hand, and I'm not good at sharpening. I can admit that. As I said, the secret to turning well is having a sharp tool. I can admit that. And when you are only so good at sharpening. As I said, the Sheikah, you have to work with your limitations. I'm probably, if you rated sharpening 0 to 10, as 0 don't know how to sharpen, and 10 being the best sharpener that you could possibly be at this, I'm about a 4 or 5. You have to work with your limitations. I'm probably, if you rated sharpening 0 to 10, not quite round on this end. But since we're down here, we might as well round it out, and we'll round it back to the other end, and then I don't really worry about sizing it, because, as I said, it will eventually be sized down to 1 inch. I'm just turning it round today. Not quite round on this end. But since we're down here, we might as well round it out, and we'll round it back to the other end, and in the future, because, as I said, it can get sized to 1 inch, because eventually be sized down to 1 inch. I'm just turning it round today. The item I'll be making out of this has a fat end and a skinny end, and I'll leave this knot down in the fat end, so I won't have to deal with it as much. And then I'll put the item I'll be making out of this has a fat end and a skinny end, and I'll leave this knot. The real work down in the fat end, so I won't have to deal with it that I'll need to put into it on the other end, where there's less imperfections. So I'm just going to kind of leave that high through there, because it's, well, it sucks. The real work that I'll need to put into it on the other end. Maybe if I get better at sharpening, I can so I'm just going to kind of leave that high, sharpen this to handle that. Well, it sucks. Area better, because frankly, it's just dulling this 1 inch roughing gouge like nobody's business. Maybe if I get better at sharpening, I can sharpen this to handle that area better, because frankly, it's just dulling this 1 inch roughing gouge like nobody's business. There are a lot of videos that'll show you how to check for round. Just lay your gouge on top, and if it's not bumping and bouncing, then you usually got it round. And that's pretty good there. So we'll move it over and get this last bit. And remember, I saw a guy the other day. The guy was pretty good with a skew, but he had that gap between the tool rest and the part. I mean, he had a huge gap. It was 3/4 inch to 1 inch. That's dangerous. You want your tool as close to the material you can possibly have it without, be running up against it. He had that gap between the tool rest and the part. I mean, he had a huge gap. It was 3/4 inch to 1 inch. That's dangerous. You want your tool as close to the material you can possibly have it without, be running up against it. You feel that? That's where it's not round. And that was my plan for the day, was getting all these round pretty much to this point, and then moving on to the next step later. But that's what I was doing for the day. I'm not gonna stay on YouTube all day just doing this. It doesn't bother me. I've seen worse on YouTube. Wood chips get everywhere, underneath my watch, everywhere. But yep. So that's what I'm gonna do today. I'm gonna leave it like that. I don't think anybody will watch, but that's fine. And we'll at a later date, maybe we'll actually show you what I'm gonna do with these, but just not today. So if anybody watched, thanks. If not, well, whatever. Have a good one, and